do my introduction for Alan Loizeaux. Alan retired from the United States Army after 22 years of active duty. Thank you, Alan, particularly on this day for your service. Following his retirement from the Army, Alan joined Norfolk Southern Railroad, where he has worked as a conductor for 17 years. He has been a model railroad enthusiast for 50 plus years, following his father's passion for the hobby. Empire Trackworks started in January 2024, targeting S scale and ON30, but quickly expanded to include S high rail, SN3, SN2, O standard, ON3, ON2, and HON3. Empire Trackworks was awarded the National Association of S-Gaugers Manufacturer of the Year Award in 2024. Alan resides in Flat Rock, North Carolina, just 30 miles south of Asheville. Alan, the floor is yours.
Good evening, gentlemen. Those watching on the internet, thank you for inviting me to participate in Off the Beaten Tracks. It's been a while, but here we go. Just a quick agenda. I'm the owner. Few little topics of what's going to be presented in the slides. Next, please. Next slide.
I'm working on it, Alan. There we go.
Back up one, please. As stated before, I grew up in the hobby following my father's passion, and there's some of the other credentials that have already been noted. Next, please. Empire Trackworks really started back in mid of 23. Larry Morton, the owner of Tamalco, randomly one day just said, "Hey, I want to sell the company. Do you want to buy it?" And we went back and forth, but I ended up declining his offer because it just wasn't a smart decision on my part at the time. I didn't know how to run a small business at all, not one idea where to start. But did a little bit of research, and by the late 23, I started selling ON30 products on Facebook, and that quickly expanded to include S scale. And in early 24, that's when I went legit, did enough research, and started up the company, Empire Trackworks. And since then, I've been attending several conventions, O Scale West, of course, the National Association of S-Gaugers, and the narrow gauge conventions I've been attending. Next, please. The real reason I wanted to start Empire Trackworks, there's not a lot of turnout and trackwork components for the oddball scales. If you want an ON30 turnout that's ready to run, you're pretty much limited to a number 5. But I decided that there was lots of websites out there that were just led to dead ends. They didn't answer the emails, didn't answer the phone. So it's my belief that they were just up and running. The websites were up and running, but nobody was monitoring them. Reading through a lot of the forum chats, most ready to run turnouts have known mechanical issues that can be easily fixed. And there's just multiple designs. Is the frog live? Is the frog dead? Do I have power routing? And if you get a mix of turnouts, it's very complex to figure out which one you have and how to keep them working together so that the trains operate. Older manufacturers out of business, nothing available for specific scales, and it all, to summarize, the community needed help, and I had a set of skills that I felt could fill that void, and so here I am 2 years later. Next slide, please. When you call or email me, it's a one-man show. I am Empire Trackworks. My responsibilities, everything from manufacturing down to janitorial services. It is honestly a one-man show. But you reach out to me, and we'll figure out exactly what you need to make you happy. Next, please. Since I started up, following the first O-Scale West in 24, orders been steady, advertisement, word of mouth has been absolutely fantastic to help promote the company. I reached out to Otter Creek and Rio Grande and Thunder Mesa Studios. I've sponsored some expansions of their layouts, and their product reviews were constructive criticism was spot on, and I made some corrections. But yeah, I've had repeat customers, and I intend to continue to attend, the following conventions that are targeted to my audience group. Next, please. Media endorsements. I've had product reviews in the 25 0130 annual, the short line narrow gauge Gazette. I believe it was the 50th anniversary that they ran a product sample. Company interviews with O-Scale 3Source and through the NASG Dispatch. And of course, the two YouTube channels that I sponsored, they helped out quite a bit. Next, please. Ground zero of operations is nothing more than a 12 by 12 office area in the basement. It's my little get away from everything zone, and nothing fancy with the tools or the supplies down there. About the only high-speed piece of equipment that I have is a resistant soldering iron and a couple 3D printers for future projects. Next, please. Scales, I started off with ON30 and S scale, and I have quickly gone and answered everybody's request for, can you do this? Can you do that? And the answer is always going to be yes. It's nothing more than the raw material, the rail, the PC ties, and some solder. Buy some track gauges and build a turnout. It makes no difference to me, but I cover down on multiple scales. And if you have a request for something, get in touch with me, and I'll make it happen for you. Next, please. All my rail comes from microengineering, unweathered, nickel silver. I cater, 40, 55, 70, 83, 100, 125, 148, all on hand, ready to go. And if there is a request for 138, I can do it. I just request that the customer provides the rail, since I don't have a steady, reliable source for code 138. Next, please. Product quality, everything is primarily assembled with fixtures from Fast Tracks. I'm a big believer in the Fast Tracks method of building a turnout. If I can't get anything specific for the item, then I just get the piece of paper and I make it by hand. But all the materials are quality. They're going to meet the NMRA or the NASG standards. And one of the most popular improvements that I made to the standard, PC tie turnout is I've been able to incorporate some hidden power jumpers to provide power to the frog rails. So each of the turnouts only require 3 feeders, three wires attached to it, the stock rail, and the frog. After that, the turnout's 100% powered. I do everything from turnouts, slips, 3-ways, crossings, and the favorite one is custom. You dream up an idea of how you want the track work to go, and I'll make it happen. And just some picture examples of what I can do. Next, please. Again, curved turnouts, those are all done by hand. Point derails, someone asked for one, so I said, okay, not a problem. I figured out how to make it happen, and I made them one. Stub turnouts, I haven't been able to find any ready to run product for stub turnouts, but I've been able to adjust and adapt the Fast Tracks fixtures to make stub turnouts. And with the 3-way stub turnouts, those are completely done by hand. I got little tools that I use to make everything, work and be compliant with each other. But you dream it, I'll make it. I'll figure out a way. Next, please. Options. I cater to the customer. If you want just the skeleton, or you want the skeleton with ties, If you want the throw bar on a certain side of the turnout, just let me know what you want, and I'll build it exactly the way you want it. The basic electrical upgrade is, standard on all my turnouts. Again, that's where the frog rails are powered. And if you want the full electrical upgrade, that is an updated option where essentially the turnout has a power cable, typically a 3-wire power cable attached to the bottom underneath the frog, and you drill an extra hole, poke the cable through, and hook that up to your power bus, and then the entire turnout is 100% powered with hidden power connectors where you don't see them after ballasting. Next, please. Again, the basic electrical upgrade. Sorry about the picture; it's a little bit fuzzy, but you can see it's the bottom side of a Fast Tracks built turnout. I add a couple extra PC ties to it, and I use the bottom side of the PC ties to transmit power from the stock rail to the correct frog rail. And the full electrical upgrade is essentially a cable attached to the bottom of the frog. Hook that up to your power bus, and then the entire turnout is 100% powered. Next, please. Stub turnouts. I offer stub turnouts in either a kit format, which does not come with ties, or if you want ties, I can include ties. There's a little bit of work to be done for the final installation, but the instructions I include make it super simple. The ready to drop in stub turnouts, they come complete, ready to drop in, depending on what scale you have. But they're a little bit fragile, but they're not difficult to work with. And if in the future, the 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 layout of the track changes and you go to remove the ready to drop in stub turnout, if by accident it gets damaged, it can easily be converted into the kit format and still be reused without fear of losing your investment on a high-end stub turnout. Next, please. Custom work that I've done. Someone posted on Facebook, I want a O scale 2 rail code 125 with the ON30 code 100, 45-degree crossing. The general comments that the gentleman received was, can't be done, do it this way, but nothing satisfied the original, customer's request. So I got in touch with them. I said, I'll give it a shot. And I ended up with what you see here in the picture. This was the initial attempt at it, and it turned out good enough. However, I built the 45 in the wrong direction, so it's now a display piece. But it works and it satisfies the customer. Not going to give all my secrets away on how I did it, but I do custom work. Next, please. Everything from I want this to something got damaged. Can you duplicate it and send it back to me? Yes, I can do that. You dream it, I'll build it for you. That's my one of my mottos. Next, please. Future products that we have for Empire Trackworks is FlexTrack. There's a lot of scales out there that don't have FlexTrack, and I've developed, along with 3D print trains, who's actually doing the work, we've been able to come up with a product that I currently have S scale in code 100, ON3 in code 100, and SN3 in code 70 and 83. I now have FlexTrack products out there, and all the other scales and all the other rail codes, those are coming out in the future. And the narrow gauge FlexTrack does not have the tie plates, highlighted in black. You'll see the cross ties and the spike details, but you won't see the tie plates on there for all the narrow gauge stuff. As the ties, as the FlexTrack continues to evolve, eventually I'm going to have the turnouts incorporate the same ties, so that way I can actually create a track system within Empire Trackworks for the hobby to enjoy. Next, please. I'm going to be completely honest. The website is outdated. I have not been able to keep on top of keeping it correct and current. It's just something I just haven't been able to do. You know, between family, my full-time job with Norfolk Southern, and getting customer orders done, I haven't spent time on the website. However, on the website, you can see customer comments, and you can see examples of the quality that I push out to my customers. So you can get a good idea of what I'm bringing to the table as far as, uh, product quality. Um, the best way to get in touch with Empire Trackworks is just send me an email. A simple email will let me know that you want something. We'll talk on the phone, and I'll make sure that you get exactly what you want. I don't collect money until you are satisfied with what the invoice has, and we work out all the details of how you want your track work pieces to be completed. Since I do have a large back order, I needed to figure out a way to monitor who's got priority. And the only way I can do that was, payment date, sets the standard as far as, whose order is going to be built next. If I have multiple requests for the same scale, I'll build them all at the same time. But it's something I have to balance out. I do my best to keep everybody informed on the status of their order, on the Facebook page, typically every Friday. Principles of my ownership, I've watched companies come and go, and a lot of the reasons why they failed, I wanted to prevent that. So customer communications, that's top, right behind stellar quality, continual improvements, and listen to the hobby. What does the hobby want? That's what I want to bring to the table. Because I want to help promote the hobby, and this is the way I've chosen to do it.